Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at how we create different layers or tones of colour using coloured pencil. We're going to look at a flat tonal scale and a gradient tonal scale. Now before you start off with this task, your teacher will explain to you how big you should make these boxes and how many boxes you should have. In this case I've gone for 6 along the top and I've gone for one larger box down at the bottom for when we do our gradient tonal scale. Again, before you start, you're going to need to make sure that you've got a nice sharp coloured pencil. You want to make sure it stays nice and sharp throughout the task so that you can render in really crisp colours. My starting point is going to be to apply one flat tone across all 6 boxes and then build up different layers depending on the number corresponding to each box, and then we'll use a different technique for the gradient tonal scale. So to start off, what I would often do is rotate my page just so that I can hold the pencil parallel to these lines here, and also so that I can use the flat edge of the pencil looking at here. So I'll start working from the end. I'm going to try and stay inside the box as best I can, but the most important thing is you keep the lines close together and you're not leaving any gaps. I'm also working very lightly, concentrating on just keeping nice even strokes. I'm trying not to work too much from my wrist because what that would do is give you an arc shape, so I'm moving more from my elbow. Trying to fill up all the boxes so that I end up with one tone across all 6 of the boxes. That's my first flat tone. Then what I'm going to do is start from the second box and build up that colour, ignoring the first box. I'm trying not to apply any extra pressure, simply just adding an extra layer of colour, so we should start to see a difference. If you find the colour isn't building up as much as you would like, then you can always add extra layers. I'm going to change the angle of my pencil slightly, just so I'm putting a bit more colour on the page until I get to the end. If you're finding it difficult to try and stay inside those lines, what you can always do is put a set square or ruler against the edge, and it would mean that it would keep you inside that line. I'll then repeat the step for boxes 3 through to 6, and then from 4, each time missing out the box before. And what you should start to see is that different layers of colour are starting to separate. Now the idea should be that you don't want to have to put too much extra pressure on the pencil, but what you can do as you get to boxes 4, 5 and 6 is increase your angle slightly, maybe lean slightly heavier on the pencil, so that what you should see is gradually the tones are getting darker. Again, trying to fill the whole box, making sure you're keeping your pencil going in one direction the whole time. What you should be able to see there is that gradually, just by applying different layers, one on top of the other using the same pressure, I can see the colour getting darker, going from one light flat tone to a darker tone. If I wanted a more smooth and consistent tone, then what I can do is use a gradient tonal scale. This time I'm going to turn the page almost completely around to 90 degrees, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my straight edge against the side of the box, and this time I'm working from the back towards the front. I'm again holding my pencil quite far forward in my hand, and I'm going to start to apply some colour, keeping the lines close together, moving quickly forward, and I'll stop just as I get to the end of the box. To apply my next coat, I'm gradually going to go down and I'll stop slightly short before the end of the box. Not leaning any heavier, simply applying the same pressure, holding my pencil the same way, but stopping just before. And as I repeat that process, what we should see is that the layers of colour are building up, but rather than 6 individual tones, we're getting lots and lots of different tones. Because I'm applying far more layers of colour, I see a much better transition from light to dark, but that does also mean that I may need to lean quite a bit heavier as I work from the back and to build up those darker, fuller tones. Continue each time to stop a little bit before the end of where I left my last coat or my last layer of tone. By this point, I've changed the grip of my pencil. I'm holding it a lot closer to the front so I can put a bit more pressure on and get a much darker tone. Flat tones are ones that we would normally use when rendering cubes, cuboids, anything with flat surfaces. That's when we use our flat tonal scale. However, if we have something with a curved surface, something cylindrical or spherical, what we would do is use a gradient tonal scale so we could see a better blend of colour. The idea is that you can now use these techniques as a way of building up colour so that your rendering is far more effective at showing the changes in lighting on different surfaces.